These are the 10 funniest crime moments on The Simpsons. Bart has a new Muslim friend which sends Homer into a patriotic rage. MyPods and Boomsticks starts when Bart meets the new kid, Bashir, who moved to the US from Jordan.
Jordan, that's on some map somewhere, right?
Yes, that's somewhere on the map. America should really invest more in their geography classes. Bart introduces Bashir to the ways of Springfield Elementary, and he warns him about cafeteria food, advising him to only eat pork chops.
My religion says I can never eat pork.
A different religion?
Bart warns him not to tell anyone that, because if the bullies find out, he'll be cooked, because, again, America. Homer sees Bart as a new friend, and at first, he really likes him. But then he talks to Moe, Lenny, and Carl, and they convince him Bashir and his family are terrorists.
This Bashir kid is Muslim, and therefore up to something.
Because being Muslim equals being evil. Carl gives Homer an idea to stop Bashir's war on American principles.
You could discriminate against his family in employment and housing.
Yes, discrimination all the way. So they tell Homer he should invite Bashir's family over for dinner and get them to tell all their secrets. They come over and Marge asks Bashir's parents how they met. They say they met at the Jordan University of Science and Technology.
Why, just the other day I was reading that science is used to make bombs.
So sly, Homer. So sly. Homer brings out a cake with an American flag on it and asks Bashir's dad to cut it, but he politely declines.
What's the matter? Don't like the taste of freedom?
Bart is angered by Homer's behavior. Bart tells Homer not to fear them just because of their differences.
They have a different religion, a different culture, and their last name is Bin Laden?
Okay, that doesn't really grant them any favors with Homer. Marge is mad because of Homer's intolerant behavior, and she makes him go and apologize. But when he gets to their house, he sees Bashir's dad opening boxes full of explosives. This just deepens his belief that they are terrorists.
I'm sure you didn't see anything. Go to sleep.
All right, sweetie. But if I wake up tomorrow, we'll discuss it.
The next day, Homer decides to snoop around and see if he can find out more. But to do that, he must find a way to get inside their house.
I wish you would quit that awful business.
But I love blowing up buildings.
He then says he does this work safely and legally to make space for new buildings. So he's some sort of contractor, but of course, that's the part Homer doesn't hear. So when Bashir's dad leaves for work, Homer comes in and apologizes to his mom for his behavior last night, and, well, invites himself in.
So, now that we're alone, death to America, right?
Homer, why are you really here?
Even if they were terrorists, does he really think she'd confess to it? When he got the chance, he snooped around a laptop and found a plan to blow up the Springfield Mall. He runs to the mall to warn everyone.
Run for your life! Run for your... Stay where you are!
He sees Bart with Bashir and his dad, ready to blow the whole thing up. Bashir's dad is explaining to Bart how important every calculation is, so to make sure the explosion is safe.
Did you factor in one bald idiot?
No,
USA! USA!
I think nobody could have seen that coming. Homer dropped the explosive into the river, which resulted in a bridge being demolished.
Do we really need a bridge there?
The Duff Brewery is on that island.
Save you!
He'll save the beer, but God forbid he saves Marge's sisters. Homer apologizes to Bashir's family, and they accept the apology, because, you know, you have to factor in the Homerism of it all. But it's no wonder Homer showed such crazy love for his country when his family has been acting like the biggest American haters of all, when Bart mooned the US flag. And then Marge showed blatant hate towards her country on live TV. As if the first thing wasn't enough, Bart-Mangled Banner starts with the kids being taken to get their shots, but Bart has a bad reaction. His ears swell shut and he'll be completely deaf for a couple of days.
Bart! Has the ketchup?
Dad, he's deaf.
It's gonna be a loud couple of days. Marge thinks he should stay at home, but Bart wants to go to the big donkey basketball game. Yes, that's a real thing in Springfield, but he definitely should have listened to Marge. He starts playing with the donkey, but then the donkey goes for the carrot in Bart's pants and rips them off completely.
Good Lord! Bart's mooning the flag!
Out of all the things he could have mooned, Skinner calls Homer and Marge into the office, and Marge tries to explain that Bart didn't know what he was doing since he was deaf. But Skinner's not convinced. He shows Homer and Marge a list of Bart's previous pranks, of the sort starting with blind Bart.
Wheelchair Bart, pregnant Bart, and my personal favorite, railroad spike through head Bart.
That really looks bad, Bart's end. The story of Bart mooning the flag goes to the news, and you know how media is, they blow it out of proportion.
We've become pariahs. In the last 2 hours, I've gotten 1,000 hate spams.
Well, better a commie than a traitor, right? The Simpsons get invited to a TV show so they can share their side of the story.
I won't have to hear suck my such and such, or hell this.
Well, Marge, you spoke too soon. Marge gets annoyed at the talk show host who twisted and turned her words around, so she says that if he's asking her if she hates loud talk show hosts, then...
Which everyone seems to be in this country, then yes, I do hate Americans.
Oh, Marge, you could have phrased that better. The host spins this further, and when Marge says she is very well liked in Springfield, the host replies,
Oh, there you have it. Springfield hates America.
This extends further, and every patriotic American denounces Springfield. They even declare December 25th as We Hate Springfield Day. Mayor Quimby changes the town name to Libertyville and puts American flags everywhere.
Changing the traffic lights to red, white, and blue just seems dangerous.
Yeah, maybe not the best decision on the mayor's end, but the Simpsons aren't in the clear yet.
Simpsons, you're under arrest for the violation of the Government Knows Best Act.
Are we living in an Orwellian world or what? They put them in a re-education center for leftists who expressed their political views a bit too loud. They make them watch all sorts of movies about the U.S. Constitution, mocking the Bill of Rights.
I don't know whether it's the lack of sleep, the sodium pentothal, but this is what I believe in now.
That's what repression will do to you. Marge tells Homer that they need to get out of there as soon as possible, and another inmate helps them.
Oh! What genius put a prison on the middle of an island?
Has he not heard of Alcatraz? A French ship helps them escape to France, because they hate Americans there, too. But as they're enjoying themselves in a French restaurant, they can't help but miss America.
The United States has its grandeur and its follies, but mostly it's the place where all our stuff is.
Yeah, because it's all about the stuff. Marge says she wishes they could go back, but they're not welcome there anymore.
There's one group that's always welcome in America. Immigrants without ID.
Amen to that.
Well, kids, this is the first chapter of our brand new lives in America.
And so they become immigrants in their own country. Bashing your country twice doesn't really make you a star citizen. But I guess they never learn. Homer's past GTA moments show just that. Homer helps Moe get money by stealing his car, only things don't go as planned. Dumbbell Indemnity starts with Moe complaining to Homer how he hasn't had a date in over 4 years. Homer reassures him he's a catch, but when Moe asks how come no woman is interested in him, Homer replies,
Oh, it's probably due to your ugliness, but that doesn't mean we can't find you a woman.
Great way to make your friend's confidence skyrocket. Homer takes Moe out, but without any luck. As they were leaving the club, a woman overheard them talking and decided to chime in. Her and Moe get to talking, and they hit it off. She compliments his tie, and since he's Moe, he doesn't know how to take it.
Draws the eye away from the old mug.
I like a face with character.
Let's get out of here, Moe. This is going nowhere.
How about some social cues, Homer? Moe asks her out on a date, and she reluctantly says yes.
My name's Renee.
Who cares? You're going out with me.
Maybe he should care a bit about the name of the first woman to go out with him in 4 years. They start dating, and Moe is over the moon. But all of their dates consist of him paying a great deal of money. And how he can afford it, no one knows. But soon, his Players Club card is maxed out, and he's left penniless.
Think of all you have to offer besides money.
I need cash and lots of it.
Yeah, not much he can offer besides money. He thinks of a plan. Since his car is insured, he tells Homer to steal it, and the insurance company will pay him $5 grand for it.
You're a genius, Moe. All your troubles will soon be over for a couple of months.
Yeah, how much time can $5 grand buy when you take your girl out for champagne and caviar? But we all know how stealthy Homer can be, or not be.
Why all the black?
Why all the pearls? Why all the hair? Why anything?
Gee, she just asked. Homer goes out to steal Moe's car, and, well, just as he had the perfect out.
Hey! Oh, no, you don't!
Oh.
He thought he was gonna steal. Don't!
Yeah, there goes nothing. Homer's a man of many qualities, but being focused ain't one of them. He stopped to watch a movie and missed the train that was supposed to hit Moe's car. Moe sees Homer in his car driving down a cliff, and he realizes Homer failed at the original plan.
Homer, you moron.
Homer, you genius!
Yeah, well, there are 2 sides to every story, but Homer couldn't get out of the car in time, so he ended up at the bottom of the ocean with it.
Well, that car thief can't hold his breath forever.
And if you can, Chief,
Then God help us all.
Don't worry, all that fat will get under the surface for sure. Homer swims up, and everyone sees that it was him who stole Moe's car.
You're under arrest, Simpson, for Grand Theft Auto.
Homer ends up in jail, but he doesn't worry much because he's sure Moe will get him out. Only Moe has other plans.
Oh, cripes the puppy dog look.
You can't resist Homer. Moe decides to bail Homer out with the money he got from the insurance, but then he changes his mind and pays for a couple's trip to Hawaii. Homer sees this from his cell, and he's deeply hurt by Moe's betrayal. Later, he gets a chance and escapes, going straight to Moe's for revenge.
Must kill Mo. Whee! Must kill Mo.
Well, at least he's having fun with it. Moe is riddled with guilt, and he tells his girlfriend about everything, and she leaves him. And as if all of this wasn't enough, he accidentally sets the bar on fire.
You!
Homer, thank God. You gotta help me here.
I'll help you. Help you die!
Honestly, that's an adequate reaction. But they start suffocating from the smoke, and then, out of nowhere, Barney comes out of the bathroom.
Oh! Homer! Ah, the booze!
Well, that would be a smart reaction if it were because of the explosion that could happen at any moment. But no, he saved the booze first, then Homer and Moe. They make up, and Homer helps Moe rebuild his bar.
Hey, there's a balloon machine in the bathroom. Kids, from now on, I don't want you touching anything in our house.
Marge is a soldier for putting up with this. I think betraying your friend is the worst crime of all, but now let's take a look at another one of Homer's Grand Theft Auto moments. Homer steals a car, but when he goes to return it, the owner isn't so forgiving. 101 Mitigation starts when Homer gets a wrong car returned to him after taking his kids to a restaurant. But instead of returning it immediately, he takes them on a drive.
Get in, kids, get in.
Dad, what were you just telling us? This is morally
There's no better way to teach your kids about what's right and what's wrong than always doing the absolute worst thing. Meanwhile, Marge is enjoying a nice massage when...
My husband, he's doing something incredibly stupid.
Well, isn't that what he's always doing? Homer returns the car to the restaurant.
Put this on the list of things we don't tell your mother, including the fact there is a list.
Like she doesn't know there's a list. Homer tells the valet that he immediately returned the car once he noticed it wasn't his, but then Comic Book Guy shows up and accuses Homer of stealing his car.
I just wanted to give my kids a ride, show them the house I was born in.
And also the house he's gonna die in, and a random cornfield. Yeah, and damage the car in the process. Comic Book Guy says he'll be pressing charges. At trial, Homer is declared guilty.
Hire a lawyer, I said. Waste of money, he said.
Well, now he'll be wasting his years in prison. Marge tries to talk to Comic Book Guy, but he's not changing his mind about Homer. Then Lisa found a possible solution: sentencing mitigation videos.
Finally, a way for rich people to bend the system their way.
Yeah, finally. So they decide to make a video about Homer, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of people who have nice things to say about him.
We've never had an employee get rehired so many times. Homer Simpson has 2 children enrolled in our school.
It's not too great when you're bad at your job and have a devil's son. Marge shows him what she's made so far, and it's not the best.
He is an eight-ball father. I warned Marge. Marry him.
Not so good. Homer is devastated, but Lisa decides to put all her strength into making this video for Homer.
He's a guy who gets off at 5 and comes directly home to be with his kids.
Yeah, that's why it's pitch dark outside.
I get the feeling she wants to say something now.
Well, it's better than Marge's video. The judge says he's impressed, but then Comic Book Guy comes out with a speech.
I have so many fictional heroes, Your Honor. For once, please, give me a real one.
That's definitely better than Homer's video. Now that almost all hope is lost and Homer is depressed, Lisa finds another possible solution. A store in Ogdenville put up the same Radioactive Man comic that Homer destroyed in the car. They go and buy it, but Comic Book Guy is not interested.
Like a mirror, you see everything but understand nothing. Get out.
But then he sees Homer's keychain. He asks him where he got it, and Homer recalls a memory.
This is for you, son. Don't say I never gave you nothing.
Aw, that's a semi-sweet act of love. Comic Book Guy asks Homer how he feels about that totem of his.
I think I love it.
Well put. Now understand this.
Duh! An eye for an eye. Seems fair-ish.
Are you saying I'm off the hook?
Yes. In fact, you may be surprised, but you are now my best friend.
That took a quick turn. I guess all you need is an old piece of valuable trash to get you off the hook. From almost going to jail to becoming the mayor's bodyguard. Homer, the man of many faces. Homer becomes Mayor Quimby's bodyguard, but in the process, he learns a lot about his dirty business. Mayor to the Mob opens with Homer saving Mayor Quimby and Luke Skywalker from angry nerds at some nerdy convention. The mayor is enraged because his bodyguards weren't there to protect him, so he fires them. They tell him that he won't be able to find anyone else to take a bullet for him.
Or have his genitals hooked up to a car battery.
I'll tell you who. Him!
I don't think he'd be woo-hooing if he listened to that genitals part. Homer becomes the mayor's new bodyguard, and he takes it way too seriously.
But Dad... Homer, I don't want you using your new sleeper hold on the children.
But Marge, he's protecting his snacks. Homer spends the day with the mayor and he sees him taking change from Mo, Krusty, and Apu, which he doesn't seem to mind.
That change was a bribe.
Oh, honey, don't be so naive. That's how the world works.
I mean, yeah, he's right, but it doesn't make it okay. But then the mayor takes things too far. He meets with Fat Tony and they make a deal.
Thank you, Mayor Quimby, for honoring us with the school milk concession.
The mayor replies that the children of Springfield need their milk. What's wrong with milk, you may ask? Well,
I hope you cows are decent. Crap on a crutch!
Yep, they're milking rats. Rats. Not cows, not goats, not even almonds. Rats! Homer's upset by this and he runs to the school to tell Bart and Lisa to stop drinking milk at school. Then he runs back to the mayor and tells him how appalled he is by his decision. He pushes a button on the mayor's treadmill and he flies out the window. So Homer makes him promise to stop buying milk from Fat Tony.
But the gangsters will kill me. You're forgetting. You've got the best bodyguard in the business.
Wow, Homer fighting for justice is a new look on him. And he looks good. The police barge into Fat Tony's bar and they have a warrant for his arrest. But he says he has an arrangement with the mayor. Then Mayor Quimby comes in and says,
Not this time, Fat Tony. The mayor's office is not for sale.
That's a funny statement coming from him. The police break down the milking operation and Fat Tony makes this statement for the news.
Everyone loves rats, but they don't want to drink the rat's milk.
I'd like to name one person who likes rats. But then he admits this statement for the mayor.
I would like to remind you that accidents will happen. Like the killing of you by us.
Bart asks Homer if he's scared, and Homer doesn't seem fazed by it. Homer goes to work that night and he takes the mayor out to a restaurant.
Okay, Mr. Burns, Fat Tony, what's his name? Fat Tony!
Well, did you think he was just gonna let things slide? But Fat Tony insists he's only there for the show, and asks Homer to give something to the mayor.
You moron! That's the kiss of death!
But did he enjoy it? Fat Tony sends one of his guys to kill Mayor Quimby.
Show's over, man!
Homer starts fighting him, and Luke Skywalker tries to help him.
Homer, use the fork.
The force?
The forks. Use the forks.
Well, you can see where the confusion came from. Homer manages to fight him off, but then he sees Fat Tony beating up the mayor.
Oh, Fat Tony.
What? What did I do?
Homer feels bad because Quimby got beaten up, but Luke tells him he's gonna be okay.
I think you made a great bodyguard.
Really? Would you say I was magnetic?
Absolutely.
And that's all he needed to hear. We can't say that the Simpsons don't want justice to be served, but sometimes it's just darn hard. Bart witnesses an altercation between two men, but when one of them is accused of a crime he didn't commit, Bart can't take the stand because everyone will know he skipped school. The boy who knew too much starts with Bart skipping school and Skinner trying to find him to prove that he skipped school and didn't actually go to the dentist's, like his note said. To escape from Skinner, Bart jumped into the car of Freddy Quimby, Mayor Quimby's nephew.
Freddy, honey, I think something just dropped into the back seat.
I'm not paying you to talk.
Ah, how gentlemanlike of him. Freddy starts bullying a French waiter for his pronunciation of the word chowder.
Chowder! It's chowder! Say it right!
I think the guy who comes from the country of cheese and wine knows how it's pronounced, but sure, let your American self run wild. Bart is in the kitchen taking a bite from a big Rice Krispie square when the waiter and Freddy come in fighting.
Say it, Frenchie. Say chowder.
Never!
Okay, you asked for it. I'm gonna enjoy this.
And when people say eat the rich, suddenly it's wrong. Bart is the only witness to the newly named Waitergate, and the incident is all over media.
Those Quimby children are so wild and rich. I hope he finally gets what's coming to him.
Bart, for some reason, thinks Freddy is innocent, but he can't say anything because Skinner will know he skipped school. His knowledge is eating him inside, and he has to share it with Lisa.
I'm sure he'll be found innocent by a fair and impartial jury.
Oh, jury duty!
Yeah, I highly doubt Homer will have mercy on him. At the trial, Freddy's lawyer calls him to the stand in hopes of further proving his innocence. He says that Freddy would never lose his temper over something as trivial as the pronunciation of chowder.
That's chowder! Chowder! I'll kill you! I'll kill all of you! Especially those of you in the jury!
Well, if that doesn't prove his innocence, I don't know what will. Even though things were looking up for Freddy before his testimony, the jury seems pretty unanimous about their verdict.
Well, Bart, Because of you, a horrible yet innocent person is going to jail.
I don't see the problem. He's completely crazy. When Homer learns that he could get a free stay at the hotel if the jury doesn't come to a decision, he does everything in his power to make it happen.
I'm only doing what I think is right. I believe Freddy Quimby should walk out of here a free hotel.
You mean a free man? Bart can't take his guilt anymore, so he talks to Marge.
What if I can get this guy off the hook? You should listen to your heart and not the voices in your head.
Marge, maybe you should check those voices out. That's not normal. Bart decides to take the stand and tell everyone what really happened.
Say chowder.
Never!
Okay, you asked for it. I'm gonna enjoy this.
So, he didn't beat him up. The waiter was just super clumsy, and every injury he got was because of that. The lawyer asked Bart how did he see all of that when he was supposed to be at school, and he confesses about skipping it. Skinner is happy to know that Bart finally confessed, and says he knew Bart would slip up sooner or later.
What slip up? What are you talking about? He confessed it!
Quiet, I need this.
Maybe Skinner should just resort to not being such a small man in situations like these. Skinner says he's impressed with what Bart did for Freddy.
On the other hand, you skipped school.
I guess the two things cancel each other out.
But Skinner has to remain a man of integrity, so he gives Bart 4 months of detention. At least he confessed to being a small man in some ways. Bart did a good deed here, helping a man keep his freedom. But we can't say he got it from his parents, especially when Marge did this a little while earlier. Marge makes friends with her neighbor Ruth, who takes her on a wild chase with the cops. Marge on the Lam starts with Homer promising Marge he'll go with her to watch ballet, but he gets stuck in a vending machine.
Must get to ballet! Promise. Marge!
Homer's a man with a big heart, but unfortunately an even bigger stomach.
Marge, this may be hard to believe, but I'm trapped inside 2 vending machines.
Sure, Homer.
Well, who could blame her for not believing him? Marge still wants to go to ballet, but her sisters won't come with her. In that moment, her neighbor Ruth comes over to return a sander she borrowed earlier, and Marge asks her if she'd like to go with her. She does, and they have a nice time, and Ruth invites her to have drinks after.
It's almost 9:30.
Yeah, right. We better turn in.
Yeah, unfortunately, Marge doesn't have a lot of fun. They get to talking, and Ruth tells Marge she envies her and Homer.
Thank you. Why?
We are asking the same question. Ruth says if Marge knew her ex-husband, she'd understand.
All he ever did was eat, sleep, and drink beer.
Your point being?
Marge, that should be ringing some bells and lighting some bulbs in your head. When Marge came home, Homer explained the situation, but she said that even though she's disappointed, she had a wonderful time with Ruth, and they're going out again.
Marge, that's twice. I think you're spending entirely too much time with this woman.
As opposed to the time he spends at Moe's. Marge and Ruth go out again, and Homer is devastated.
How can you do this, Marge? How can you desert your children?
Have a blast, Mom.
They don't look deserted to me. Homer wants to show Marge he can have fun too, so he calls up some friends, but no one is available. So he decides to go out alone. Ruth and Marge go to a bar first, and then to a club, after which Ruth wants to call it a night, but Marge has one more place in mind.
You know, Marge, of all the places we've been tonight, I think I like this one the best.
It's nice to see Marge having a friend. Hope it doesn't backfire. As they drive off to go home, Homer walks by, but being at the Springfield sign doesn't feel the same without Marge.
What are you doing here?
My wife's having a girls' night out.
Just get one of those inflatable women.
Chief Wiggum, you're a very, very disturbing man. Wiggum offers Homer a ride home, but as they were driving, they see a car up front and Wiggum wants to stop it for inspection.
I think they want us to stop.
Bad chance. This car's stolen.
I guess Marge can't have a regular friend. Marge is shocked and Ruth tells her she stole the car from her ex-husband after he didn't pay her any child support. Marge tells her she could have just reported him to the police.
Marge, you're the level-headed friend I never had.
If she thinks Marge is level-headed, God only knows what's inside her head. Chief Wiggum alerts the station about his pursuit of 2 women and gives a description of a woman in a green dress, pearls, and big blue hair.
It's Marge! She's become a crazed criminal just because I didn't take her to the ballet.
Homer, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, but not everything Marge does is influenced by you. I know. Shocker. Ruth tells Marge she's gonna leave her at the first gas station, because there's no need for her to be dragged into this. But when Ruth leaves Marge, she's puzzled because she doesn't want to leave a friend hanging, so she comes back. Meanwhile, Bart and Lisa are at home watching Marge being chased by the police on TV.
I always just knew someday Mom would violently rise up and cast off the shackles of our male oppressors.
Bart tells Lisa to just stop with her philosophical thinking. Lisa, sometimes the curtains are just blue. For some reason, the men in Springfield are crazy worried about two women not obeying the law.
Their behavior could incite other women, leading to anarchy of biblical proportions.
Because if the women quit following the rules, who will? The car chase takes enormous proportions, with every cop in Springfield being after Ruth and Marge. Ruth wants to give up and turn herself in because a single mom can't win in a man's world, but Lisa taught Marge better.
Ruth, that's a lot of hooey. It's not over until it's over.
But they don't realize they're driving straight to the cliff.
They're gonna drive right into it just to teach us men a lesson, and it's all my fault!
I mean, if you take some stuff out of the equation, it kind of is. But I'm not here to point fingers. Homer takes a megaphone to try and talk to Marge. He apologizes for being a lousy husband and not taking her to ballet.
Let's just say I'm sorry for the whole marriage up to this point.
At least he's finally taking accountability. Homer begs her not to dive into the chasm, and when they hear this, they immediately stop the car. Then we see the epilogue of the story. The judge dismissed the auto theft charges and made Ruth's ex-husband pay for all child support, and Marge was ordered to pay $2,000 in punitive damages and mental anguish. So all's well that ends well, if you ask me. I'd say stealing your dirtbag ex-husband's car isn't so bad, but not following the prohibition. Well, Homer breaks the prohibition law and starts illegally distributing alcohol. Homer versus the 18th Amendment starts on St. Patrick's Day, and as any previous St. Patrick's Day, it's filled with violence and drunk people. Among them is Bart.
Stop the celebration! That small boy is drunk!
This is gonna make Homer and Marge look very bad. Well, maybe just Marge. Homer isn't aware of this since he's drunk out of his mind at Moe's.
Oh, ain't that your kid on TV?
What are you looking at?
Ah, the spitting image of his father. People start talking about Prohibition, but Homer doesn't believe that will happen.
We want prohibition! We want prohibition!
You can't seriously want to ban alcohol?
Well, maybe not. But since kids are getting drunk on streets, the mayor is forced to bring Prohibition back. But for some reason, people aren't really as fazed by this as they were when they first heard of it.
Sobriety's peaceful slumber was shattered by its noisy neighbor, the Speakeasy.
Ah, now it all makes sense. Fat Tony's smuggling booze and everything is running smoothly.
You didn't see nothing.
I don't know why people are always bad-mouthing the mafia.
And that's our justice system for you. But when the Springfield moms find out about Moe's speakeasy, they demand repercussions. Since Chief Wiggum was among the people at Moe's, they demand a new chief of police.
Springfield sent for the one man who could clean up the town and shoot the gangsters. Rex Banner.
Well, at least he looks scarier than Wiggum. He throws all booze out, even with Fat Tony trying to bribe him.
Okay, you win. From now on, we'll stick to smuggling heroin.
See that you do.
Because booze is a no-no, but be sure to give me a needle and call me a junkie. Homer is devastated by the whole situation, and Chief Wiggum is right there with him.
Alcohol is my way of life, and I aim to keep it.
Homer, that's a thing an alcoholic would say. Maybe check yourself into a rehab center or something. Homer thinks of a plan that will bring booze back to Springfield. He digs up all buried barrels of beer, and he and Bart use bowling balls as canisters, which they send to Moe's bar by some secret tunnel. Honestly, I'm impressed.
The real money's in bootlegging, not in your childish vandalism.
Oh, so many wasted nights.
There'll be a lot more wasted nights in prison if the new chief finds out about this. The new chief knows there's someone dealing booze around, and Marge is also getting suspicious.
You're the one the papers have been talking about. That mysterious beer baron.
Homer the Beer Baron. Now that's a nickname suitable for an alcoholic like him. Homer explains his operation, and Marge actually thinks it's very clever. Lisa can't believe what she's hearing. Marge supporting Homer's crazy operation.
Prohibition may be unpopular, but it's the law, and we still have...
Go to your room, Lisa.
After Homer ran out of the beer he dug up, he and Bart begin to make their own alcoholic beverages.
That's even more illegal than what you were doing before.
We're patriots, like all those people in jail.
Remember to tell that to the judge. Maybe then he'll have more mercy. But since Homer has zero chemistry knowledge, despite his line of work, his drinks are exploding. But he's trying to hide it from Marge.
Homer, there's no point in pretending you're making those noises. Your homemade liquor is exploding again.
Marge tells him he should quit while he's ahead. He made the money, got a bit of fame. It's time to stop. He reluctantly agrees. Then he meets Wiggum, who tries to rob him because he's all out of money.
How would you like to show him up by beating him at his own game?
Homer decides to let Wiggum arrest him for smuggling beer. That way, he'd prove he's a capable cop and get his job back. But Homer didn't account for the punishment.
And he who shall violate this law shall be punished by catapult.
A catapult? That law really is 200 years old.
I thought you'd get a fine, or at most 3-4 years in jail.
And that's better how? Marge steps in. She's not about to let her husband be catapulted.
Prohibition has cost us our freedom. Our freedom to drink.
Well, maybe not everyone should be free to drink. Your husband and son first. But as the new old chief was stating the reasons why laws must be obeyed,
our laws are in place for a reason.
Send him back to Mama, boy.
Well, that was unexpected. But then they see that there are a few more lines on the parchment which says that the Prohibition law was annulled 199 years ago. So, Homer goes free. Mayor Quimby apologizes to him and asks him how long it'll take to flood the town with booze again.
I'm not in that business anymore.
4 minutes.
Someone is. Homer sure sets an example for Bart. Committing crimes is okay if it's for your benefit. So he does just that. Just a few episodes later, Bart commits credit card fraud and loses Santa's little helper in the process. The Canine Mutiny starts with Bart filling a credit card application, and he puts down Santa's little helper's name, and before you know it, he has a credit card. He starts buying things for himself and splurging on everything he can. But there's one specific thing he gets for himself.
Only 800 will be bred. Quite possibly the world's best dog.
Well, if the ad says so, it must be true. So Bart's new dog arrives.
Hello, my name is Laddie. I've been trained to gather fruit for you as a welcome gift.
Laddie? Really? Couldn't be more creative. Bart successfully lies to Homer and Marge about how he got the dog and all other things he bought for himself.
Bart says he won him at a church carnival 2 towns over.
In a truth-telling contest, right, Bart?
Would you just go with the fact that your son traveled all by himself? But Bart's days of getting things for free won't last forever. He gets a call from Moneybank Credit Services Department.
I was wondering if you had a chance to read the threatening letter we sent you.
Oh, Bart, you better start coming up with a lie.
When can I tell my supervisor, Mr. Robinson, to expect payment?
Good dog.
No worries. He's got a new dog to help out with all his problems. But where's Santa's little helper? You know, the dog you owe all your money to? Well, he's outside because no one seems to remember him anymore. The next day, Bart goes to the woods to bury his credit card because that'll just make the problem go away. But when he comes back, he sees people taking stuff out of his room and loading it in trucks.
Why are those repo guys taking all your stuff?
Bart tells Lisa the truth, and a man asks Bart where's the dog he paid $1,200 for. Bart looks at Santa's little helper, and then Laddie. Oh, Bart, don't do it.
That's him, all right.
That's a new low, Bart, even for you. The family barely even notices that Santa's little helper isn't around.
We wrecked the first dog. We've got to treat this one right.
Were the same thoughts going through their heads when they were making more children? They take Laddie to the park and everyone loves him. But then Bart realizes nobody but him liked Santa's little helper.
He's nothing like your old dog. Santa's little helper? Guess I was the only one who loved him.
Bart feels bad for what he did, and he wants to go get his old dog back. But he doesn't know how. He realizes Laddie is too much for him, especially after always wanting to go outside and getting medals for bravery.
Boy, we sure could use a dog like that on the force.
Why don't you guys take him?
Is that your new thing, Bart? Giving up your dogs? Bart tells his family the truth about Santa's little helper, and he decides to go and get him back. First, he goes to the repo center, but they gave the dog away to some guy wearing a skirt.
No, I didn't buy your dog.
Now, Bart, that's just mean. And a bit funny. Bart goes to Willie and he tells him that...
Yeah, I bought you a mutt, and I ate him.
Oh, he hates him. Good, because for a second I thought this episode turned into a horror movie. Willie tells Bart that he left the dog at the church, and they tell him that one of the parishioners took him in. When Bart gets to his house, he gets ready for a performance of his life. But turns out, he's performing for a blind man.
He's my best buddy, huh? Especially since my parrot decided to stop talking.
Bart gives up his first plan, but then he thinks of another.
I'm gonna break into the blind man's yard and swipe the dog.
Bart, that is a new low.
Yeah, pretty crime and punishment of him. Bart breaks in, but the man hears him and comes downstairs.
I may be blind, but you just ran into a closet.
No!
Bart has no option but to confess. And the man understands, but he also likes the dog. So they decide to let Santa's little helper decide. He picks Bart, of course.
I'm sorry. Wish there was some way we could both have a dog.
And that moment, the police come in with Laddie, who starts jumping on the man.
That's not for doggies.
Marijuana.
Well, guess Laddie wasn't just being friendly. At least Bart didn't end up in prison for this. Well, not such a small crime. Unlike Homer, who was incarcerated for kicking a can. Homer ends up in prison and becomes the prison snitch. The Seven-Beer Snitch opens with the Simpsons going to Shelbyville, only to find out the people there think of Springfield as a bunch of low-life, stupid people. Marge takes this to a town meeting and they come up with a plan to build a concert hall so they can prove just how cultured they are. Unfortunately, nobody is cultured enough to listen to classical music, so not only did they build a hall for nothing, but they're losing money.
Perhaps I can be of assistance.
Oh, he's up to no good. Mr. Burns takes the building off of the mayor's hands, but what does he intend to do with it?
He's turned it into a prison.
Well, that's to be expected of him. Homer wants to become a prison guard, and to do so, he needs to be checked for drugs. But his urine is swapped with Otto's, and, well, you can imagine how that went.
I haven't seen so many drugs in a wang since I ran a Chinese opium den.
And he's the man running the prison. But Mr. Burns runs into a problem. There aren't enough prisoners in his prison.
I could beef up arrests by enforcing some of these old forgotten laws.
Ah, the U.S. law system. Works like a charm. Chief Wiggum arrests Homer for kicking the can one too many times.
5 kicks of the same can shall be considered illegally transporting litter.
So Homer is put in jail, and when he sees Snake Jailbird trying to escape, he misinterprets it as him being hurt and unknowingly snitches on him.
How'd you like to be a full-time rat?
Homer declines at first, but when he hears that there are certain perks to it, he accepts. The prisoners quickly catch on that there's a rat among them, and they want to find out who that is. Homer tells his family about his new position in prison.
The prison snitch is killed. And that could be you, because you're the prison snitch.
Well, Marge, you just sped up the process with your loud mouth. The prisoners decide to put Homer to the test. They tell him about a jailbreak that's going to happen, and Homer alerts the guards about it.
Something don't feel right. Usually when there's a jailbreak, there's electricity in the air.
You know, for someone who's supposed to be in charge of hundreds of prisoners, he's not really the smartest cookie in town. Meanwhile, in prison...
Kill the rat! Okay, don't panic.
No, Homer, this is a time you should be panicking. The prisoners open their cells and head straight for Homer. He manages to get past them and call Marge. Jeez, he even has a phone.
I only did what I had to do to survive, in a style befitting a French monarch.
Well, your let-them-eat-cake mindset is what got you into this position. Kent Brockman is reporting live about the whole situation. He says that a pack of inmates are desperately looking for the prison snitch.
Homer Simpson, this massive blob over here.
Camera adds a few pounds, right, Homer? Marge gets inside to try and help Homer, and they lock themselves in a gas chamber. The prisoners, for some reason, are trying to get inside, instead of just gassing them. Missed opportunity, really. Then someone drops tear gas into the room and knocks out the prisoners. It's the governor with Mr. Burns.
I've been using my powers of snitching for evil, but now I want a title for good.
Homer tells them about how horribly Mr. Burns is treating the prisoners and how bad their life is. The governor pardons the prisoners since there's nowhere to put them now. Homer is finally home, and he tells Marge that he missed watching her sleep the most.
Sleeping sweetly. I won't tell if you don't tell.
And another crime against Marge is committed by the one and only Homer Simpson. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. Tell me your favorite crime moment in the comments below.